Every once in a while, a new product comes out that immediately captures my attention. Enter the Yeelight cubes. Above and beyond the fact that I love the way they look, the biggest thing that I was curious to take a closer look at was their magnetic modular design. And this type of approach where everything is swappable and easily reconnected, to me always seemed like the ultimate end goal for products to become, but for whatever reason, it's yet to become the norm. So join me as I take a closer look to see if Yeelight gets it right with not only their engineering, but the product's overall functionality. Now to begin, I do want to thank Yeelight for sending me out some samples to try, which is what I'll be unboxing. Here I have one of their starter packs. Opening things up, you'll first be greeted with the main event, which is this black minimalistic cube. It's solid in hand, and there's just something about the design that makes you want to pick it up and hold it. Next is the base unit, and this will provide the main power to the cubes. Then you have the setup guide, and finally the power adapter. Now to get the base hooked up with the cube, you put them together, and since it's magnetized, the two pieces will snap in place. You can't get any easier than that. It's very refreshing not having to deal with clips or separate connectors. Next, let's take a quick look at the other two types of cubes they'll be offering to help you create the perfect look. Here you have their panel extension kit. It's the same size and shape as the pixel cube we just looked at, but this offers a solid type effect instead of the dots. And finally, the spot extension. Again, same size and shape, but different functionality with the spotlight type design. Now if you're like me, you're probably interested in the technology of how these are connected. I could be wrong, but my guess is each one of these rings work pretty much the same as a copper pad on an LED strip. One ring will probably be the voltage, one the ground, another the data, and the final might be a backup data similar to what some strips have. And when you place them together, the little pins right here rest on the appropriate rings and lets everything flow as needed to power and control. So before getting these plugged in and set up, here's just a quick demonstration of how easy it is to move these around and reorganize the different cubes when you don't need to worry about any cable or different clip type connector pieces getting in the way. Again, this is how I wish every product will eventually be like in the future. And one thing I forgot to mention is that the Spotlight Cube does have a built-in swivel, which will give you greater flexibility in regards to where you're able to shine it, so make sure to keep that in mind when you're creating your own setup. So now let's move on to getting them connected to the app. First, go to the Play Store and search for Yeelight Station. Once you're downloaded and logged in, you should get to a screen that looks like this. Now just hit the plus icon near the top right, and it's going to have you scan in the QR code on the base unit, and then you'll need to put in your Wi-Fi information before it'll begin to pair. Once complete, you can give it a name, and then you're all set. And if you have any additional base units that you need to pair, you would just do the exact same thing that we just did. Now the first thing I'm going to do is take the base unit that I just set up and begin to connect up to 6 cubes to it. And as far as I know, this can be any combination of the 3 styles you have to choose from. Now once you have at least one connected, you can hit the capacitive button on the front. That's going to cycle through 6 default animations, and a little bit later I'll go over how you can change these to your favorites, which is a nice feature if you don't want to get your phone out. Transitioning to the app, right from the main screen I have quick access to all the preset animations, some of what we just cycled through using the touch button on the base. Now let's click into the actual device, and the first time you're in, it's going to ask you what configuration do you have set up. For me, I have 5 pixels followed by 1 panel, so that's what I'll be entering in. Then hit done to be taken back to the main page, and then in the middle you have the power on and off as well as brightness control. Above that you have all the preset animations you can cycle through, which we have gone through most of them since these are the same ones that show up on the previous screen as well as the ones that are assigned to the capacitive button on the base. And one subtle thing I want to point out that I think is super cool from a UI standpoint is that all these circles are kind of hovering on the screen so they don't feel as static, and when you do click on one, the picture itself will have some slight movement, which is a very nice extra touch that adds to the overall package. Now in all these animations, there's a little pencil icon at the bottom of the circle. Clicking on that allows you to go into each one and customize the theme color, speed of movement, as well as the direction of the movement. And once you click save, that will then be the default when you go back into that particular animation. Next, let's go into clock mode. This allows you to display the time, date, or go back and forth between the two. And as far as customizing, you can choose between different color options for things to be displayed in. One thing to note is that you do need to have at least 4 pixel cubes connected in a row before the clock feature will be unlocked. And finally, let's get into pixel graffiti. Here you can easily paint the individual pixels whatever color you want before moving on to the next one. Each cube offers 25 completely addressable dots that you can change independently. Now above and beyond this, you can click on the presets tab at the bottom right and you'll be presented with a lot of different pre-made designs you can choose between, and I think the Pac-Man ones ended up being my favorite. And furthermore, once you have something you like, you can add movement by going into dynamic effects and choosing between different animation styles. Now the last few things I want to go over on the app is under the settings at the top right. Clicking on the module splicing will let you re-input the blocks you're using for your design, and then in custom button switching you can assign what animations you want to the capacitive button on the front. I'm going to switch things up and now go over some of the unique features of the Yeelight desktop app. For this, first go to the Yeelight website and download the program. Once you have it installed, it should look like this. From here, click on the plus icon to add the 2 units that we already set up via the station app. Now I already did this step, so you can see here that it found both base stations and I named one left and one right. I'm going to spend most of my time on the color play feature since it's the one I like the most. First, go in and click edit and you have a few different templates you can choose from. And basically what you're doing is assigning each cube a section of the screen to closely mirror in terms of color palettes. Once you have them all assigned, you can click save and then start under color play to initiate the mirroring. Now keep in mind you can change this based on your design, so if you have the cubes in different patterns or in different locations, you can go back and reassign them to make sure things line up best to reflect what's on the screen. And this was so fun to play around with, and probably the setting I'll just end up always having on. To begin wrapping things up, Yeelight definitely hit one out of the park with this product. It's clear to see that they put a lot of time, thought, and money into making these really stand out, and for all you smart home enthusiasts out there, you'll be happy to know that these are Matter enabled, so compatibility should not be an issue. Finally, Yeelight also made sure that these play nice with Chroma and Overwolf to allow you to further create some dynamic lighting effects. So from here on out, I'll continue to play some more screen mirroring footage, but I do hope you enjoyed this quick review, and as always, thank you so much for watching.